Liberty and her sister Serenity talk about their interaction with Mrs. Lewis in chapter 1472. After paying Liberty a visit in the hospital, Mrs. Lewis made a suggestion that Duncan had stopped over to say hello but stayed outside of her ward. Given that Mrs. Lewis appears to think there is a romantic relationship between Duncan and her, Liberty is worried about the consequences. Serenity is reassured by Liberty that she has never thought about Duncan in that way, and that Zachary alone is to blame for his assistance. She confides in her sister, expressing her uncertainty over the misinterpretation of Mrs. Lewis on the situation and her anxiety at the suggestion being dropped. The topic of misunderstandings and presumptions in relationships is explored in depth in this chapter. Liberty feels tense and uneasy due to the misunderstanding of Mrs. Lewis of her feelings for Duncan. Character miscommunications give the narrative dimension because the hints Mrs. Lewis may have repercussions for how Duncan and Liberty interact in the future. The openness of Liberty's chat with Serenity demonstrates the sisters' close relationship and their capacity for open communication. The conversation effectively conveys Serenity's supportive and understanding character, as well as Liberty's emotional vulnerability. The chapter sheds light on Liberty's personality, her beliefs, and her sincere aims through the use of conversation and inner thoughts. She acts with maturity in this situation, not allowing misunderstandings to cloud her judgment and concentrating on her relationship with Duncan as it actually is. We are curious to see how these misunderstandings will be cleared up and how they might affect the burgeoning romance between Duncan and Liberty as the novel moves further. The narrative is made more exciting and tense by the complexity of familial dynamics and presumptions. In conclusion, chapter 1472 reveals misunderstandings and presumptions among individuals, notably in connection to the relationship between Liberty and Duncan. The chapter is interesting and realistic because of the characters' real feelings, open dialogue, and emotional vulnerabilities.